Greetings товарищи, and welcome back to the Witcher 2 Comedic Analysis, the video game analytics series that you're probably watching in 2022, or how much time it takes to get noticed on YouTube these days. This is the second part, so if you are a newcomer, I suggest you start from the beginning, or even from the Witcher 1 Comedic Analysis, that series is great too. Anyway, let's get started, we have a lot of ground to cover. Chapter 1, Flotsam. When we talk about structuring a story with chapters, my perspective is that junction points must be crafted very carefully or a player will be distracted with more important things like socialization or, God forbid, education. That's why I love straight to the action intros so much. The prologue ended with a not so exciting stealth section, followed by a pretty lengthy cutscene, and this chapter opens with a flashback movie, followed by a slow walkie-talkie sequence, and only then we have gameplay. I can understand that CDPR took a much more cinematic approach and important stuff happens not only to Geralt, but it is crucial to not forget that this is a video game, not a movie. Players need, well, to play! And because of this, I think it would have been better to drop the flashback and landing parts completely, starting with encountering Yove. By the way, my inner medieval enthusiast is so excited that he plays not a random improvisation, but a real 14th century song called Stella Splendens. I wish that developers did such things more often. Real world is full of great stuff and it is much easier for players to relate to something rooted IRL. Why do you think Shrek is so good?
Layers! Onions have layers.
But the introduction is not over yet. We are given freedom of movement for some reason, but before we visit a quest marker we can't do anything with this freedom. In general, despite aforementioned flaws, the intro does a decent job at what it is supposed to do. Even the most unattentive player will get what's happening. Story structure! Like the first chapter in the previous game, the beginning is straightforward and simple. You follow a linear storyline. First, you hunt a monstrous beast. This one is a main quest version of Monster Hunting Quest, but unlike the previous game, here you approach them like a proper Witcher for once. You have to gather info and prepare gadgets. First part requires buying a book or killing enough monsters to unlock a glossary entry. Second one requires you to do a specific activity, like destroying cocoons or blowing up nests. In case of this main quest, we have a boss fight. Basically, you have to catch his side tentacles with the Urden sign and cut them off. I really like this fight, but of course there are problems. It is not clear how far is too far when walking around him. It may result in a few deaths from his "I'm not that kind of girl" attacks. If you bring a special quest trap, place it and then dodge away from an attack, good luck finding that trap again. It will blend with the environment and the boss has to strike in the exact right spot for it to trigger. But the worst part is a sudden quicktime event. And if you fail it, you must redo the entire fight. I recommend falling for it once to have a taste of quote-unquote proper experience and then disabling quicktime events in settings. Also, keep in mind that he is lootable, which is counterintuitive since...
I must get to work, collect the most valuable ingredients.
Nope.
Next on the list is another stealth sequence, this time an optional one and still pretty dull. At least the reward is good enough to replace your mega mighty genius design high-tech armor from the first game. After that, you have an option to skip a quest. Seriously, one choice leads to lore, fight and a beautiful cutscene and the other leads to... When we talk about branching narratives, this is not what we mean. Continuing, we have to meet our second bromance candidate, Yoveth, and I want to say a few words about decisions on timer. An intention to create a feeling of tension in the player's head is good, but the actual result of such mechanics is, oops, reload? Or, well, crap, I guess I'll go with that. Both are not what you want. In the first case, you wasted time implementing a mechanic. And in the second, a player didn't make a choice, so there was no point in having it. A better way would have been making it so that when the timer ends, a hidden do nothing option is played, leading to another choice, this time without a timer on it. All that action ends up with another boss fight, and if you thought that the beast was hard, well, good luck.
Who are you?
I am you, but stronger.
I have mixed feelings about this fight. On paper it is very good. You versus the much better you, a symbol of this game being more about skill than stats. You have to adapt, to analyze your enemy's weaks and strengths, come up with a winning strategy and execute it. But all the rustiness can easily ruin the experience. Let's go point by point. Out of tune timings. Letho has a melee moveset of a two-handed brute, which means that he can enter the block mode, preventing damage and staggering you. It may seem that his ability to do a 180 turn when doing so is a problem, but without that these guys would be easily countered by flanking. The real problem is that after staggering you, he sometimes makes a certain attack that hits too fast for you to dodge. There is a type of enemies attacking whose block is punished by design, but in this case, block is a damage preventing combo breaking mechanic that shouldn't punish a player. When knocked down, you don't have invulnerability. Usually it is not a big deal, but his art is unfairly tricky to dodge due to weird hitboxes. Besides, damage is manageable, but he likes to follow it with a bomb throw, a fireball, or, for especially lucky people, a melee combo. The combat in this game really feels like a mix between Batman Arkham and Dark Souls, and Wiki strengthens this thought. From the first one, you have a fast-paced non-stop action with a feel of power and confidence, and from the second, you have a tactical approach, commitment and punishment. This really sounds great, but as I told in a previous video, it doesn't work right. Lack of transparency and predictability really damages the tactical Dark Souls part. With collision-based systems, everything is always clear. But here we have a target-based system, meaning that you pick a target, play an attack animation, and then damage goes through if the target is in attack reach. The problem is that you never know where that reach is, and even the game itself often doesn't. Also, it doesn't help that attack time is random. There will be plenty of moments when you will be hit because your so-called quick attack is a 2-second spin to win.
Hello there. I'm a witcher.
And the game doesn't care who screwed up. It is you who will be punished. Brutally. All this creates an environment where a player has to constantly run away and disengage in fear, crushing the free-flow confidence of the Batman part. With Letho gone, we have a story fork. One way is action and the other is... oh my. Oh my. Why, God? Why another stealth section?
I'm tired, boss.
Sheesh. It's almost time to end the video and I only finished the main story part. I guess I have some time to run through other mechanics. As in any self-respecting RPG, there is a lot of side content. You can do arm wrestling, where you have to keep a twitching back and forth icon in a moving and shrinking zone. Mechanically there is nothing to comment. It is easy and doesn't give you anything except progressing the arm wrestling quest. Dice Poker minigame made its return from the previous game, though it suffered many changes. And when I say suffered, I mean it. First of all, the maximum wage is now 10 gold. An opponent can raise up to 10 more, but does this only if he is confident. The game is no longer best of 3 match, so you can win the maximum of 40 gold if unbelievably lucky. Also, the camera is now on the side and there is no summary of who has what combination after a throw, so you have to count yourself. All this makes Dice Poker uncomfortable and not a worthwhile endeavor, except again for progressing the Dice Poker quest. If you want to farm money, you go monster hunting now, which brings us to my favorite topic, inventory systems that limit for the sake of limiting. We already carry enough building materials to construct a little manor. Jeez, we don't need any trolls. Give me a hammer and I'll fix that bridge myself. Why not allow us to carry all the stuff? It will greatly disbalance consumables. Okay, limit just that, not everything else. Right now the system limits exploration, forcing players to constantly backtrack to the city. It borrows tedium from reality, which is not what you want to borrow. While we're here, a few words about interface. From an abstract flamey art style to biochemical. Well, again, it is not my place to judge aesthetics. I'm just glad that it has a theme now. Mechanically it is optimized for consoles. Let's just accept that it is easier for PC users to adapt to console needs than the other way around. And that's the first chapter for you guys. The first taste of how this game actually plays, and in short it can be described as great cinematic experience with sometimes frustrating gameplay. Everything looks awesome on paper and can almost be felt, but a thick layer of rust leaves its stains on the experience. earlier the game told us that it is absolutely chill and normal now, but already in one of the 3 action RPG pillars, combat, we can see that something's not right here. Will it keep its word in the next chapter? That we will see in the next episode of The Witcher 2 Comedic Analysis. I hope that you found this video informative and/or entertaining. If you did, subscribe to my channel and leave your feedback in the comments section. My wife feels really lonely there. Maybe check my other videos and stay tuned for more content. But for now, с вами был товарищ Комрад, out.